The channel is Anywhere Rider, and this is the spot for a variety of motorcycle travel, reviews, and other adventure-oriented stuff, or just anything else we find interesting. No matter how you've gotten here, welcome back and welcome aboard. Today we're looking at the new 2023 Suzuki V-Strom 800DE. V-Strom has been around for a while, but with this model, Suzuki's made some big changes.
I'm going to do something a little different with this because this is an adventure bike. I'm just going to go over the berm. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's fun. Well, let's do it again. Go back here, see what this feels like. Well, this is an unusual experience for me. Here's one, just a big drop off. Bam! That didn't hit anything. I love that. So I'm just looking over the bike for the first time, and one of the things I notice here is the preload, the suspension here, easily adjustable. I really like that. That TFT display in the front looks really sharp. It is not touchscreen. Well, that's okay. That's more than I expected, frankly. The mode selection is over here. Pretty simple otherwise. At 6'4", I'm straddling the bike. I'm comfortable. I feel like it's got a lot of suspension. I haven't adjusted it, of course. Maybe I should. Maybe give it a little twist here. There is no specific dial by pound or weight or anything, so I'm just kind of going to where I feel like I've got a little suspension under me. Yeah, I really like the feel it's got grunt in this. It's 6th gear and going around these turns, I mean, it's got power for days. Really unexpected. All right, 74 miles an hour here. I feel like I got plenty of power to keep it up to speed too. I do not have the wind protection I would like if I were to take this on a long tour at this speed. Now, of course, I'm going at 82, but I do feel the wind. It's not buffeting my helmet because I don't have turbulent air from a big windscreen. So while we're waiting on this gentleman in here in front of me, let's go over the specifications.
It's powered by an all-new 776 parallel twin 270-degree crankcase. Suzuki claims 83 horsepower at 8,500 RPM and 52.5 foot-pounds of torque. As is always true in my riding reviews, I like to see how it performs in the real world.
The bike is very responsive, and I haven't been a Suzuki rider for some time. I used to own an Intruder, different style bike, but I am certainly not opposed to the brand at all. I just haven't kept up with their most recent offerings. I like the sound of the bike as well. It's smooth, it's quiet, and that's what I like. The brakes, ooh yeah, they dive pretty good.
The Showa suspension is really good in my opinion. I gave the bike a couple chances of disappointment, it just never did. It has 8.7 inches of travel and about the same in ground clearance. The suspension is not a disappointment in any way.
It has a little bit of wind protection on my legs because I'm kind of tucked in behind this little shell of the gas tank here. The bike feels light, really very nimble. Yeah, this has got more pep than anybody would need, honestly. So I've noticed here on the tank it says 90 plus, so it does need premium fuel. Not a big deal, but it does require high octane. For an ADV bike, is that a problem for any? It's never been a problem for a cruiser bike because you're around gas stations that presumably have high test gas. But if you're out and about in the wilderness, are you less likely to be around high test gasoline? If I were contemplating the bike and being used in that application, it's something that I would think about. I find myself quickly getting used to the posture, much more stretched out. It's not a bad thing. I'm enjoying it. I have the ability now to stand up, but I don't normally on my other bikes. Okay, so taking a look at the mirrors here, I oftentimes will look and see how much they vibrate. And there's a minimal amount of vibration in these mirrors. I also do not feel a great deal of vibration in my hands. It's a really smooth bike. I don't feel any in my feet. Vibration maybe of the road itself. I wouldn't want it to be any more plush. With the inaccurate adjustment on the suspension, I don't know where I've adjusted it to. That's not a bad thing. I mean, there's no perfection in this, but it worked nicely. Whatever adjustment that I've made, it works really well. The look of the bike is, I think, very good. I actually like the bright colors. It's a departure from all the muted colors that I've seen in 22, 23. So I like it. It's a little bit more sporty. It looks like you can adjust the handlebars as needed very quickly, easily. And you can access the rest of the bike pretty easily too. I never really dig into the corners too much on these test rides because it's not my bike. There's a little groundhog. Hey, buddy. It's chain, so it'd have a little bit more maintenance than maybe a shaft drive. Keeps the cost down, presumably. If I'd have this bike, I would probably like to add quite a bit more light in the front. For safety on a road, on a highway, but also just to lighten up the night a little bit more. I don't see much frame here, but maybe there's a way to do it. Maybe they have an accessory. These maybe 80-20 tires, 80% road, 20% off-road, perhaps. I'm going it as a educated guess on this. Let's just show these passing lights. I can quickly flash it just by pushing in that little knob, and I can get a little high beam, hold it forward to stay on, and just pull it back toward the rider for a quick flash. Pretty straightforward ADV bike. Sounds good, it performs really well. I'm not sponsored by Suzuki, but I like this bike. Yeah, I'd buy this bike. I'd want some bags to go with it. That would be a no-brainer. And as I mentioned before in the video, I want a windscreen. I really like what I've ridden on both the BMW and the Tiger. I want some adjustment up there. Now I've left this turn signal on. I'm going to see if it has the ability to turn itself off, and it does not. Okay, so I'll turn that off. Okay. Well, you can't have everything. That's a small little ask. Suzuki has built a really fine motorcycle, didn't give a whole lot of bells and whistles, it seems, but they gave enough. The suspension adjustment is good. I love the TFT display there. It just feels solid and smooth. Those are probably the best descriptions I could provide for it. Here I go. Oh yeah. I can lean into that. That's really nice. Here's a train track. I'm going to see about the suspension now. Oh man, that's effortless. Well, okay, Suzuki, you have a new fan. The brakes are really good. Plenty of stopping power. Just here's dual disc up front.
Now, riding modes are available that adjust the throttle response to riding conditions, but being honest, I didn't have the chance to utilize them in my brief time. The 21-inch spoke front wheel allows for better off-road flexibility, but for me, I'd like to see them use a tubeless design in future models.
We'll park it back at Sloan's and thank them very much for the demo ride.
What do you think, man?
That thing will throw down. It absolutely will.
V-Strom 800 DE comes in at $11,349 and offers 2 color choices.
I didn't expect to be impressed by it, but I am.